What is the secret to unlocking your full potential? What makes your idols any different than you? How do you become the person you've always wanted to be in life? This is where you get all of your questions answered. My name is Justin Shank, and I sit down with some of the most epic individuals who are changing the world with their actions in business and in life. We discuss how they did it, why they pushed themselves, and more importantly, how they were able to focus on continuous growth to achieve their dreams. Welcome to the Growth Now movement. This week, I sit down with my good friend, Freddy Vasquez. One thing I want to start doing on this show is showcasing people from my wonderful town of Reading, Pennsylvania. Not just any people, though. I want to showcase the people here who are inspiring entrepreneurs, people who are doing what they say they're going to do, people who are strong, committed friends, and people who want to impact the world with what they're doing. Cue my friend, Freddy. Freddy is the founder of FXV Digital. He is the master behind the website gnmlive.com. And one of the things that I love about this guy is that he's a true friend. He's there for you when you need him. And he also gives his time and energy and effort to many nonprofits around the community where he's able to make a deeper impact because he feels blessed with the success of his business. In this episode, we talk about the growth of his business, how he's been able to grow it through networking, how he's been able to master his craft, how he went from wanting to be a musician to getting into building websites and graphic design and all that fun stuff. But we also talk about impact. And we talk about how no matter who you are, no matter where you're from, no matter what you're doing right now, you can make a positive impact in the lives of the people around you. I really enjoyed this conversation with him. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it as well. As you guys already know, Growth Now Movement Live is right around the corner. Well, kind of. But I'm slowly leaking some announcements along the way. I just let you know that Adam Shibley is returning as a movement maker, so he will be there again this year to add his wisdom and his value. But also, this week's guest, Freddy Vasquez, will be one of the local representatives as a movement maker at Growth Now Movement Live, and I can't wait for you guys to see him on stage, to learn from him, and to dive in and connect with him. I'm really excited to be able to spotlight him as a movement maker because I know he's going to add so much value to you guys. So you don't want to miss it. The prices will be going up soon, so you want to head over to gnmlive.com and grab your tickets and join people from all over the country, Canada, and hopefully we add a third country this year at Growth and Movement Live in Reading, Pennsylvania, May 2020. We'll see you guys there. So without further ado, let's dive into the episode with my good friend, Freddy Vasquez. Freddy, welcome to the Growth Now Movement, man.
Hey, what's up, brother? Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, I'm excited, because I want to kind of create a shift in the show a little bit because obviously I interview celebrities and these huge influencers with millions of followers, but I'm also really big on my town and the people that I know and why my relationships that I've built over life are super important. And you're somebody, we started getting close like 6 months ago, not even that long ago.
No, I think we started talking when Growth Now Movement Live was announced.
Yeah.
And you were like, yo, man, I need a website. And I think that's what allowed us to just chill and discuss and hang out.
Yeah. And so, but I think it was one of those things where it was an instant connection because I surround myself with people who are authentically themselves, who are unapologetically themselves, but also have a goal and a direction in life because that's what's important to me. Like those are the main characteristics and friends that I need. And, our mutual friend Adam, who's also an entrepreneur, who will be on the show as well. I want to start highlighting you guys because that's the real stuff. Like this is the people that are like me, that are still trying to figure out how do I live my best life every single day. Because that's kind of the struggle we're in right now. But why don't you just take a minute or two and just explain who's Freddy today, and then we'll figure out how you got there later.
Man, today, great question. I guess for me, today, you know what? Freddy Vasquez today is a dude who loves building websites, loves helping his friends, he loves helping his community. I'll give you the shirt off my back. If I can give it to you, you can have it, man. I like to say thank you to everyone who helped me. I like to be the first person people call when they need help. I feel good about being that way because I feel like if you can give good in the world and put it out there, you will receive it. So maybe it's a little selfish, kind of, but how can you be selfish when you're giving you're all the people who need it. So yeah, I'm a dude who loves building websites. I love helping people, and The Office is on constant rotation on my Netflix. So that's who I am.
I never watched The Office, and it's funny that you said that,
Dude.
I was feeling some sort of way last night. Like, I'm an emotional guy. Like, that's just the reality of me.
Right on.
I was feeling some sort of way, and every once in a while, when I'm feeling emotional, I'll watch sad stuff, and I watched the when Michael Scott was leaving The Office.
Yeah.
And I never watched the show, but I got emotional, so I understand how you can get tied into a character. Anyway, that's not what this is. That's not what this is about. But yeah, I mean, when you talk about somebody who would give the shirt off your back, and you're a giver, I'm the same way. But for me, that's just the universe. It's the rule of reciprocity, right? What you put out comes back to you, and it might not be the people that you're helping necessarily, but that's kind of the return, right? So when you're giving, it comes back around, and so what's kind of on a deeper level, what's been your take on that? Why did you start, first of all, giving? Was it because you wanted to feel good, or were you like, I don't even know what I'm doing and I'm just going to try something?
I think it's just my parents. I was talking to somebody the other day because we had that veterans barbecue a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to do something good for the veterans. And people that volunteered were like, yo, man, thanks for putting this thing on. It's very cool. I loved bringing my kids to this event to show them, you should be appreciative of what you have in life. And my earliest memory of that was my dad. We went to New York City Christmas time. I don't know, maybe I was 7 or 8 at the time. I couldn't tell you. And he gave a homeless, man some money. And my dad took me to the side and said, see, you're very lucky. You have to be very thankful for everything you have in life, and that you're not in that kind of a situation. And my mom was also a big giver because she would always donate her time and money and all that good stuff. But my friend was actually homeless at one point. We were all sitting around a table, and my buddy looked at all of us. He's like, I need somewhere to sleep tonight, guys. Who can help me?
Wow.
And not one person was like, stay at my place.
What?
Right, exactly. And I was like, dude, come to my house. Without fail, without thinking twice, come with me, come home with me. And I told my mom, and of course, my mom was like, yeah, here's a blanket, here's a pillow. I think my mom would have been mad at me if I didn't bring him home. So them, bringing me up in that way to help when you can is, just part of my fabric. And I think being that I am an entrepreneur and a small business owner and in a position to do so, I feel like it's my duty to do so. If you're semi-successful, you don't have to be rich, just semi-successful and have reach of some sort. If you're not going to, host anything, then what's the point of being here, man?
Yeah.
Really? Is it all about making money and just, retiring?
Yeah.
That's stupid. You got a few bucks, you got reach, call somebody, set something up, and do something. You have to. You have to.
Yeah.
Straight up.
I actually, before I came over here, by the way, we're sitting in Freddy's office right now having this conversation. But before I came over here, I was on the phone with Terry Weaver, and we were talking about that. We were talking about some other events that happen other than mine, all over the country. There's actually one happening the same weekend as mine out in San Diego. And we just talked about what's the purpose of doing something like this? Why would people come to your event versus their event? Are you actually competitors because you're on the same weekend, or are you drawing a different crowd? And, when we were having the conversation, I was like, I just want to help people, man. I want to change perspective. I want people to realize that it is more than money.
Right on.
It is about giving and being part of a community and being part of something bigger than yourself. And then this competing event, it's about money. It's about, how do I get rich? How do I become that new rock star entrepreneur versus what a real entrepreneur is, right? And I think there's two different things, and it's all about perspective as well. When you talked about, even if you have something to give, I think people so often they see people and they're like, oh, that person gave $1 million. I could never do that. Well, you might not be able to today, but you can give something. And you talk about your dad when you're a kid and that homeless person on the street, and he gave $5 or whatever. $5 to your dad was probably nothing at the time. But $5 to that homeless guy was probably life-changing, right? So you have to think about who is it in the world that you're reaching out to? Who is it that you're trying to build that community with? And who you kind of trying to lift up with you? And that's an interesting perspective because I think that when we are kids, we learn that stuff by watching our parents and everything like that.
Sure.
But then it becomes a choice. So why is that still a choice for you?
You got, man, you got to do good, dude. Like, you know what? Go on Facebook. All right. Go on Facebook and look at all the bullshit that is on there all day. You know, this is happening with politics. This is happening with police officers. This is happening
so annoying.
with, it's just negative, 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 negative. All fucking day. Mm-hmm. Give me a break. I've had it. I've had it with all of it. The unfollow button is my best friend on Facebook.
I love it.
It's the best. I go on my Facebook feed now. It's baseball, dogs, and like my friend's shit that's going on. It's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I love it. And I just try to be like, you know what, man, we're doing something different. You know what? I want to do a blood drive like I did last year. And that was fun because why not?
And I almost passed out.
And he almost passed out. And I was there. And, you know, if you've met him, he is a white male. He was Casper that day. It was insane. And he was like, I'm going to Jersey. I'm like, bro, you're not going to Jersey. I got to go drive to Jersey. He left and drove to Jersey. I was like, I don't think I should have let him go.
I made it, though. I made it.
You did, obviously. But, I mean, but just to bring it back, like, how do you not want to be good, man?
Yeah.
Like, how do you not want to help people? I don't get it. Why would you not want to help your fellow man? What? Just give me a good. If you can give me a great reason why I shouldn't help people, okay, baby, I'll change my mind. But I no, doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You know, do it. Help people, and you feel good. Don't do it to feel good. Obviously, you want to help people, but man, when I can help somebody, dude, I'm like, right on, high five. You know, like. I did my good deed for the day, sometimes I'll say, and then go watch The Office for 12 hours, you know, so whatever.
Dude, and you're 100% right, and I think that's why you and I click is because I have that same mindset of like, if you can, why not?
Right.
You know, and that's actually something that you can kind of take into business. You can take that into any part of your life. If you can, why not? Like, I started looking at my life and my trajectory as an entrepreneur, and, you know, when I lived in this like scarcity mindset where I was like, I can't do that. I can't financially do that. Then guess what? Money didn't flow. Things weren't happening. Opportunities didn't arise. And when I made the decision to start living in abundance, I started saying, yes, why not do that? Right? Everything started to change. Like, let's be real. Like, this event that I'm doing or that I've done at this point, this will come out after the event. Mm-hmm. So the event that I just did, there's no way in hell financially at the moment that I said, I'm going to do this, should I have done this? Sure. To roll the dice, to spend tens of thousands of dollars to do an event, there's no way in hell I should have, but I said yes, and the opportunities that are coming from it are abundant, right? The money, whether I'll break even year one, hopefully, you know, break even hopefully, but you know, it's one of those things where you know you have to say yes to things, and I want to shift. And the reason for me saying this, I want to shift this to the business side of conversation, right of like, you know, when we look at life, for you, at least, what's the difference between living your life every day and running your business? Is there a difference, a different approach?
Oh, man. There shouldn't be. You know, I do things now. The things I do now are because, for me personally, I don't want to look like a bitch in front of my family.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a rough way of putting it, but I live with 3 women. I have a wife and 2 gorgeous daughters. So I'm the dude. Like, I'm the man. And, you know, I'm not trying to be a dick or chauvinistic or whatever. Don't take it that way. I'm old school, but I'm not like that.
He's not that old school.
No, but it's just like, I'm still a man, and I'm not putting anything against anybody, but you know what? In my mindset, I am a man.
Yeah.
So I walk into this home, and I have 2 daughters and a wife. And I feel like they look up to me in a way, and like, yo, man, you need to protect us and you need to take care of us and all that good stuff. And
you feel like the provider.
Right, I'm a provider, but my wife's a baller. So, like, you know, she's got her own thing going on. But that's the way I feel, right? So how am I going to accomplish that? Well, I'm not going to be a bitch. And I'm going to go out there and make crazy moves and do whatever I can to be able to provide for my family and be that guy.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm like, well, am I going to do it just to do that? or am I going to try to be happy at the same time? And that's where it's like, okay, you got to be happy, dude. Which is why I changed my whole business aspect from since the last time we spoke and did a podcast. What I was doing then, I am not doing now.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's a totally different mindset because I'm like, you know what? I'm still going to provide for my family. I'm still going to be there. I'm still going to be a good influence and be a role model to my daughters. But I'm going to also be happy, man, because money isn't everything. I'm not rich by any means, but I can do stuff. I can have pizza on Fridays and not worry about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I work hard and I make moves like you make moves. Like you just had this great event and it's amazing. And you're like, I am in no position to be doing anything like this. Well, I just bought a building. I wasn't ready to buy a building, but somebody was like, hey, do you want this? And I'm like, well, yes, I do. Do you want to spend $250,000? Of course I do. Because I don't have $250,000, but I'm going to fucking spend it like I have it.
That's right.
And sure as shit, I spent it, and now I'm in an office. So it's like, well, yeah, why wouldn't you do that? If you don't have enough, courage to do that, then what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
Go work retail.
That's it.
Go work retail, do your 40, 50 years, whatever. Hopefully you have some sort of retirement, and then go die.
So you went and bought this building. Let's talk about that for a second. So you went and bought this building, which creates stress, which creates anxiety, which creates, the oh shit moments of like, can I handle this? Mm-hmm. Do you need that as a driver?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You're safe as death.
Yeah.
Safe as death, man, all day long. I worked out of my house and I built websites. I literally could have just built some websites and updated some social media accounts for my basement, in my boxers and hung out with my dogs all day. Died in like 20 years, whatever it is. Hey. Sure. Was there anything wrong with that? No, I'm not going to put that down. If you love doing that, if you're happy doing that, then God bless you because you're fucking happy.
Yep, that's it.
Period. If that makes you happy, good for you, man. Personally, that does not make me happy. I'm like, am I going to do this? Hell no. What am I showing my kids?
Yeah.
What am I showing myself? So I go ahead and rent an office. I didn't have to rent an office, but I was like, no, man, you're going to rent an office and you're going to prove to yourself that you can make more money and have this office and still be okay. Yeah. Literally double your bills because I was working out of my house. Now I have another internet bill, another rent bill, electric, and gas, and blah, blah, blah.
Just the internet bill alone.
The internet bill? Yeah, because I don't have the cheap-ass internet. No. I got the speedy internet, man. And then it's like, all right, well, then you did that. Now you have a chance to buy a building and have all that stress. But why wouldn't you do it, man? You got to challenge yourself. If you're not afraid, then it isn't worth doing.
Yeah.
So now you buy a building, and now you have tenants upstairs, and you want to rent out the back and do all these crazy things. It's like, yeah, great. So I'm going to move into this thing, and I'm going to dominate it. And then you know what? I guarantee maybe 2 years, maybe 5 years, I'm going to buy another one. Because why the fuck not?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's it, baby.
Dude, and I love that too because that's exactly my mindset when it comes to certain things. And now, obviously, keep in mind, I wasn't always that way. I did live in, I talked about earlier, I lived in that scarcity mindset. But when I look at my event, dude, I announced this event, and somebody recently tagged me in that video that I did. I did a Facebook Live to announce the event. Somebody recently tagged me in, and it brought me back up. And I was watching the video. And I remember what I was thinking when I was saying doing the announcement. And I just remember sitting there going, nobody's going to buy a fucking ticket. Like, that was actually in my head. I go, what are you doing? There's no reason you should be doing this. You're just some dude from Reading. I had semi-accepting speakers who were like, yeah, I might be able to do it. Reach out later. And I was like, oh, I was in. I was like so gung-ho about this. I'm like, this is what I'm doing. And, I mean, it worked out. Obviously, I've sold out the event. Like, everything is fantastic. And did it work out exactly how I thought it was going to? No. But it worked out exactly how it was supposed to. And I think that's the difference in life. Like, we sit there and we look at something. You buy a building. I have this event. And we go, this is how it's going to happen. It's probably not going to happen that way.
Nope.
It's not going to be that easy.
Nope.
It's not going to be X's and O's, step 1, 2, 3. But it's about having that vision and then taking that one step at a time, and that's what you're doing. You say yes in the moment, and then you figure it out.
Always.
So you talked a lot earlier about being happy and happiness and all that stuff. What is happy to you?
Happiness to me is feeling satisfied. I don't even know how to explain it, man. Well, I mean, happiness to me is hanging out on the deck on Sunday, smoking a cigar and drinking a beer. Happiness is going to a ball game because you can.
On a Wednesday.
On a Wednesday.
At 1 o'clock.
Which is what we did. You were like, the Mets are playing the Phillies. Wednesday, 1 o'clock. And even for a second, I was like, I got to work. And then I was like, wait. No. I don't have to work. You have to go enjoy a ball game with your buddy and just not think about it for a minute. You know, so happiness is being able to go to ball games. Happiness is being able to, you know, stop early and go to a networking event with your friends, which, sure, you want to call a networking event because you want to, you know, quote unquote, make connections. But honestly, for me at this point, networking events are just another way of grabbing a brew with one of your local colleagues.
It's adult happy hour.
It's adult happy hour, man, with people that you don't have to talk business with. During the day, did you get this? Did you get that? This referral, blah, blah, blah. But at night, it's just a good time.
Yeah.
So I guess happiness is being able to do what I want to do when I want to do it. You know, that's you know, I guess the selfish version of what happiness means to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You've always kind of been an entrepreneur. Like, obviously, I know your story. You know, you had a band and you built a website for the band, 1998, if I remember correctly, which is like the internet barely existed at that point. Yeah, GeoCities. Dude, so I'm not going to say the website, but there's a website out there through Angel Fire that me and my friend Mike built when we were kids. And there's like it was about us being best friends.
Oh.
Like, it was like the cheesiest thing on the planet. I still remember the whole entire website, the angelfire.com/what it was. I remember the whole entire, because you had to, back then you had to have all that stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's really funny, but yes, so that was a thing. Like, I thought I was going to be an internet guy. I thought I was going to be you. Didn't work out that way.
You are an internet guy, kind of.
Yeah, in a way. I mean, everything I do is through the internet.
Well,
some way, shape, or form.
Internet.
What's that?
Everything's through the internet now.
It's true.
So
without it, you're dead. I mean, we talked about that before we hit record, which is scary to think about. But you've always been like an entrepreneur. Was it like just bred in you, or do you think it's something that you learned?
I think it was bred in me.
Yeah.
You know, when I think about it now, my grandfather had his own shop in Ecuador, South America. He was an entrepreneur. He always just hustled, sold things, made guns. Like, it's like third world where he was at. I remember one summer when I went down there, I was in his shop sanding the butts of guns, of like rifles. I'm like 8 or 9, and I'm sanding it down with a power sander.
That's crazy.
Not knowing anything what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, but like, he's always was an entrepreneur. And then my dad, even though my dad worked in the post office for years at this point now, he's almost retired, and was actually a New York City cab driver before that. But he was a mobile disc jockey, you know, and my dad would do those parties. And then I remember going to Looney Tunes, which is this like record shop on Long Island, and there was all these clocks hanging up. And my dad was like, I could make that. I was like, really? He's like, yeah. So we bought a poster, and I made these clocks that this local record shop was making. My dad showed me how to make one, and then I started making them. And I was selling them to my friends in high school.
That's awesome.
You know, so it was like, my grandfather, I guess, showed my dad, and my dad showed it to me. And now I'm seeing it in my daughter, who's like, every day she's got like another idea in her head. Dad, we should do this. Dad, we should do that. Prom was a couple weeks ago. Wilson High School prom, or whenever this gets released, months ago.
Yeah.
But anyway, my daughter's like, Dad, can I borrow your camera? I just got this brand new DSLR. I'm like, yeah, go ahead. She's like, I'm going to go to the prom and take pictures of all the kids. And I'm going to release a page out and ask for donations for my time. But then she comes to tell me that parents were giving her cash at the Reading Public Museum while she was doing it already. So she went out there thinking, I don't want to go to prom and be dressed up. I'm going to go make a buck. She went out that night and made some money. And I'm just like, damn,
that's
dude,
crazy.
She's just already, she's worse than I am.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it's definitely DNA. You know, all day.
Yeah, it's funny to me because, like, I jokingly say I'm the accidental entrepreneur, like how I fell into it and how podcasting became a thing for me, and how, you know, when I launched the podcast, I had no idea. Like, I didn't know anything about it. I didn't realize it could be a business, and now that's what I do all the time. And so my dad was an entrepreneur. He owned a construction business, and my grandfather was an entrepreneur, owned a construction business. But like, as a kid, I didn't think about that as an entrepreneur. Like, I was like, that's just what they did. And I go, I don't want to build houses. I don't want to slang rooftops. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just not a thing I wanted to do. But for me, being an entrepreneur, and I think this is important for people that are listening to hear, for me, being an entrepreneur is not easy.
Hell no.
It's not my mindset. It's not what I like. There's still parts of me during stressful days where I go, I could go get a job and just make easy money. Now, does that make me happy? No. Being an entrepreneur, podcasting, speaking, traveling, that makes me happy. But there's literally days in me where I go, I could just go do that. You could just go do that, dude. And so I think that for me, it's almost like I'm happier as an entrepreneur, but it's not easier.
No, of course not. If it was easy, everybody would do it.
Right.
It's like, playing baseball. That shit's impossible. I think being an entrepreneur is easier than playing baseball.
Hitting a major league fastball,
Sure,
maybe.
that's what I'm saying. Well,
I could go crush some little leaguers right now. I'm actually probably not. That's a lie.
Oh my God, bro. But here's a question for you, and I'll ask you now, and I can put you in the spot. Would you consider, like, sometimes I sit there and think, am I an entrepreneur? Like me personally. Because sometimes I feel like if you really want to be called an entrepreneur, you need to be doing more than just running one thing. Like, do you think, like, it's because I'm like, man, I think I'm just a small business owner. Am I really an entrepreneur per se? Because I don't have more than one thing happening?
That's a good question.
You know? And I kind of get that vibe differently from different people, from different things I see online. From other people, they're like, "Oh, I'm an entrepreneur," and they have like 50 things listed.
Yeah.
And like, sure, I mean, technically, am I an entrepreneur? Maybe, because I have like, I've made shirts on the side and I have a blog on the side, but I don't pay attention to any of them as much as I do just this one thing.
Well, I think you always have your mainstream of income.
Right.
Right. I mean, I have multiple streams of income, but it all falls under the same umbrella. Mm-hmm. Right. So that's kind of a different thing. I think you're an entrepreneur. I think an entrepreneur is a business owner. Now, these guys who own businesses where there's 200 employees, it's hard for me to think of them as entrepreneurs. I think an entrepreneur is still that guy who in some way, shape, or form is at least small amount of employees.
Right.
Hustling every day. I think that's an entrepreneur to me. But there's people that own huge companies that go, yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. Like, bro, you own Penske. You're not an entrepreneur. Like, you're doing $40 billion a year. Like, that's hard for me to put my head around.
Right. You're like, at that point, I feel like you're just a successful business owner. Yeah. Which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like entrepreneur is being thrown around so much now.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's the new rock star.
Right. It's like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. My kid's like, I want to be an entrepreneur. I'm like, that's cool. I'm like, but do you want to be an entrepreneur? Or like, I don't know. Just wondering. This is one of those things I think about every once in a while.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation to have. I mean, and like you said, your daughter going, I want to be an entrepreneur. I mean, she's a grinder.
That's for sure.
Is she an entrepreneur?
I think she wants to be. She's also not graduated yet.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Or at this point, she will, whenever this fucking show comes out.
Yeah.
She'll be graduated by then. But, I have a feeling she's going to be way more successful than I'll ever be.
Yeah.
Because her mindset, I wish, because at 17, I wasn't thinking like that. 17, I was thinking girls, band, rock star, girls, band, rock star. That was it. She's like, I want to do a blog, and I want to make videos, and I want to go do this, and I want to travel the world. And I'm like, dang, you have like real goals. What was I doing at 17?
But look, there, like, and I think that's just one of those things where it's a different world. Mm-hmm. So she has exposure to that. When we were kids, I mean, you're a little bit older than me, but like when we were kids, a lot of bit older than me.
Thanks, buddy.
When we were kids, we didn't have the internet. Like I didn't have the internet till I was in high school. I think I might have been in middle school, but like even then it was dial up and it didn't work.
Yeah.
But we weren't exposed to it. Whereas now you have guys like Gary Vee and Tony Robbins and Tim Ferriss and these guys that are at a click of a button that it looks like they do nothing. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's so enticing. But the reality is being an entrepreneur isn't the 4-hour work week. As somebody said to me one time, he's like, yo, Tim Ferriss, the 4-hour work week, the guy who wrote the book that'll guarantee he'll never work 4 hours in a week ever again. Because he's just going to work his ass off now, you know?
No, I think it's just part of the thing that people want to read about.
Yeah.
They want to have a 4-hour work week or whatever the case is. It's not like that at all. But it's kind of like two different ways, though, because I had a conversation with my kid, too. You know, she was like, you know, I think, you know, totally blinded by the entrepreneurial world or like all these crazy things. And I'm like, dude, these people don't do all this shit all the time either. It's like, yeah, Gary V's Gary V. Like, you know, yeah, he's a pimp. You know, I'm not going to take anything away from the guy. Hell no. The guy's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But he ain't doing all that shit every day either.
He talks about that Gary V's a character. Gary V is a part of him, not who. He's not Gary Vaynerchuk. It's two different people.
Yeah, and there's people running all that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife is doing that now. Like, my wife she still has the number one pet sitting service in the area. But now she's not running it full time anymore. Now she works somewhere else, and she has someone else doing all that shit now.
Yeah.
That's a pimp move, dude. Like, she just collects. She does things here and there, don't get me wrong, because it's still her baby in a sort. But I'm like, I think she is an entrepreneur in my mind. Because that's what she's rocking right there. And she's still doing something else. And she was helping other people do other things.
Yeah.
So, you know, it goes back and forth.
For sure. Well, you mentioned that you think your daughter's going to be much more successful than you ever will be. Mm-hmm. So that leads me to a question that I ask pretty much everybody I talk to, which is, what's your definition of success? And what are 3 things you're currently doing every day to ensure that success for yourself?
Oh, man, my definition of success, man. Oh, man, you know, success to me is being able to be happy and do what you want to do. You know, there's no money involved.
Yeah.
In my mind, I think dying the richest man in the cemetery, you know, for me is when there's going to be hundreds of people at my funeral. You know, if I die and one person shows up, that was a waste.
Yeah.
I could be the richest man on the planet, and that was a waste. But if I died tomorrow and there was hundreds of people at my funeral, I know I was a success because I was able to leave a mark of somehow, you know. So that's my definition of success. And what 3 things am I trying to do to make sure I achieve that? Not being a dick, number 1, every day. I just don't be a dick. Number 2 would be, what am I doing today to help somebody else? You know, and number 3 would be, I guess, man, I don't know. Those 2 things right away are just the thing for me. And I guess number 3 would be like, you know, I don't know, pay attention to what my business, I don't know. That's a lame answer. Like, don't be a dick, number 1. And number 2, do something good for somebody today. That's my definition of success, because the 3rd thing is going to be karma. Because if you put out good's coming back, man. You know, that's what I think. And notice how none of that involves money.
Yeah.
None of it.
Dude, I agree 100%. So you know, the thing is, we had a great conversation here, but we never talked about really what it is you do. You talked about how you love building websites. So I'm going to take a second here and tell you guys about Freddy. So Freddy owns a company called FXV Digital. And FXV Digital is a premier website design, social media company here in the area. But the guy builds websites by understanding what it is you need. And I think that's the biggest thing that you do better than most, is you do take the time to learn your clients and what their needs are and what it is they're looking for, and then you make it look good, right? So your slogan is, let's create something awesome today.
Yeah.
That's what it is, because your clients come in here and they're like, oh, well, we think we have an idea. And it's not even necessarily a website question. Like when you and I sat down and we talked about gnmlive.com, you're like, cool, well, what's the feel? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? It wasn't, oh, well, what do you need for colors and this? It wasn't that. It was, let's get a feel for it, and then you build that. And dude, by the way, not to shortchange the work you do, but I literally went to sleep and woke up the next day and go, yo, here's your website. I was like, what the hell? Like, how is that a thing? And look, obviously it doesn't always work that way, but you just got inspired, and this is what happened.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, so obviously, where do people go to find you, connect with you, potentially work with you, all that fun stuff?
Yeah, just check out the website, fxvdigital.com. That's Frank X-Ray Victor digital.com. From there, you click out to all the social networks you want to check out, the Instagrams and the Facebooks and all that. But check out the site. If you dig what I do, fill out the form, give me a call. My number's on there. And if you want to just get together and chat, because that's what we did, man.
Yeah.
You're like, yo, man, I need this website. And I was like, well, let's go talk about it. And that's what we did. We hung out, talked about it. And that's the best way to get a feel for anything. And that's, what, I'll tell you that for anything with websites or whatever you're doing in life, man. have a conversation with somebody. Don't automatically get blinded by the work. I know it sounds crazy because I want you to check out my website and see, the stuff we do, but have a conversation with people.
Yeah.
I mean, I've learned so much from clients just by sitting down and talking. And you will just get a different vibe, a different feel, and you yourself will get inspired. Like if you own a business and you're servicing clients, talk to them, hang out with them. I have people coming here all the time. One of the clients I had a few times ago, she was a travel agency. And she came in and she's like, I love going to these places and this places. And we had a great conversation. We're in here for like 2 hours just bullshitting. And that alone made me build one of my favorite websites because I was so inspired by her on what she wanted to do. And no matter how good you think you are at something, if you can't get inspired, it's going to suck.
Yeah.
Period, end of story. You're not that good. Okay? Get inspired, and you'd be surprised at what inspiration will do for anything you do in life. It will definitely take you to that next level, dude.
I love that, man. So I wrap up all these interviews with 5 rapid-fire questions. Some are fun, some are serious, but I ask you this. Answer within one word or at the most one sentence. Are you ready?
Okay, let's do it.
First one is, what is your favorite smell?
My wife.
Oh, that's nice. That's a good answer. Mm-hmm. Maybe the first one that I've had that somebody said their significant other. Somebody said their cats, and I think that was the weirdest answer we've gotten. She's great, by the way. Sanya Kilji, look her up. She's great. What is one characteristic in a friend for you that's non-negotiable?
Don't be a dick.
That's it.
That's it.
Just be a good person.
I love that. And I love you, man. You're my buddy. You're not an asshole.
Sometimes I can be, though.
Well, you haven't been to me, so I guess okay.
If they're one person living or dead, you could have dinner with them. Who would that be?
Freddie Mercury.
Really?
Hell yeah.
Because you guys share the name?
No, because that was one interesting dude, and he was the front man to one of the greatest bands ever created.
It's true. Be an interesting conversation.
Hell yeah.
And a wild party afterwards.
Fuck
I saw
yeah,
the movie. I saw the movie. At the end of your life, if you can only be remembered for one sentence, what would that be?
That Fredman, he was a good dude. That's it.
Love it. Now, obviously, this podcast is called The Growth Now Movement, so I wrap up every single interview with this one question. In your life, what has been your biggest moment of growth?
Biggest moment of growth? Honestly, my wife was my fiance at the time, and I put her through hell at one time. I was an ass. I was an asshole, and there was a lot of things involved where I was working at the time and how I was feeling. And she stuck through me through that whole time. And when we finally left the situation I was in, I definitely stopped being an asshole. And I realized that without her, I could never have done anything I did after that. So my biggest moment of growth, I think, was me marrying my wife. And she's the rock, no matter how corny it might sound. Behind every great man is a stronger woman. So my biggest moment of growth is, I guess, meeting her and marrying her. That was the smartest thing I ever fucking did in my life.
Do you think that she would say the smartest thing she ever did was marry you?
No, thank God.
You know what's funny, dude? I have so many conversations that men will say, the smartest thing I ever did was marry my wife. So rarely does a woman say the smartest thing I ever did was marry my husband.
No.
That gives you some perspective.
Yes.
But Freddie, thank you so much, man, for hanging out with me, for being a friend, and for continuing to do what you do, not only to improve the websites in the world, but to improve the world, because you truly do it every single day.
Thanks, man. And thank you for being a cool dude and being an inspiration to a lot of people out here, because they might not all say it to you, but I just hang out around and I see what people are saying about what you do and what Growth Now is going to do or just did for the area. And just keep trucking, bro. Because I remember when I met you, you were just some dude at the end of the table working at this local joint. And now, not that long later, you're making moves, man. So, and I'm proud to call you my friend. I told you that before we started. I'm proud to know you. And I feel just a little special on the inside because I can say, you're my buddy. And I got your cell phone number. So
that's true, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you guys so much for being a part of the Growth Now movement. This is how you can really help me out. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please share it out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that fun stuff. And let's grow this movement to epic heights. And it's all going to be because of you guys. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next week.